It's always good seeing you, Avi, folks. We always want to include you in what we're doing. And having a great time here, always, with Avi Lipkin. Want to make sure that we're in all the right places, too. There was a song, Looking for Love in All the Wrong Places. Well, we want to make sure we're in all the right places.
Amen.
All right. All right. Here we go. Um, as with exciting developments, folks, there's always exciting challenges too, and you need to verify when you expand. Right now we're being seen on different platforms in different cities, from Midland, Dallas, and beyond, and Oklahoma City, and and the list goes on, because we want everyone to be apprised of what's happening in and around Israel. You can't trust your mainstream media. I hope you realize that. You just can't. It is what it is, and that's what it is. Okay. All right. Facebook says we can't go live yet. Well, I don't care. All right. Well, we're going to verify where we are, and we are recording. We also restream live as well. You want to be sure and catch that when we restream. But with none other further ado, we're going to get started here, and let's do a let's get going like right about now. It's As Goes Israel, So Goes the World, with none other than Avi Lipkin, founder of the Bible Block Party, author, speaker, extraordinaire, and a dear friend. How are you there, Avi?
Very, very good. Always praise God. Always good to be on your show, my show, whatever show.
Yeah.
And just remember, I'm living proof that ham is kosher because I won't ham it up in front of the camera.
Well, isn't that the truth? Avi, I love you dearly. We've been doing this for a few years now, and we've seen some good and some bad. It just seems like yesterday, the sudden Hamas attack and the atrocities thereof, and then the ground situation, the ground war, and such. So much to keep up with, folks. You most definitely cannot trust your mainstream media, but you can trust what's coming from As Goes Israel. Avi is literally in Israel right now, live. What's happening on the ground? And before you answer that, tell us how the Avi Lipkin family is.
Oh, well, we're all doing well. As you know, my son Aaron, who's your friend also,
Yeah.
is catching a flight to New York and then to Texas. And then he's going to be in the NRB in Nashville.
All right.
And after Nashville, I think he's going to Kansas City. I don't know. He's going to be a whole lot of places. There are lots of churches waiting for him. And after 2.5 years of war, there has been very, very little tourism, pilgrimage to Israel. And so the purpose of Aaron's trip, Aaron and his wife Etty, is to stir up the groups that are ready to come and to explain to them that we may have a war with Iran, but it's going to be very soon. And within 6 or 7 weeks, when he gets back to Israel, it'll be over. And actually, most of our groups are going to start coming from April all the way to October, November, and then the following March, April. So we are lining up the groups to come to Israel.
Now, you mentioned war with Iran.
Yeah.
You have some insight there. Last we talked, Trump and some others were going to actually meet with Iran, is what I understood. Tell us what's going on there.
Well, firstly, um, Jews and Christians together believe in the Ten Commandments, and Ten Commandments are saying, "Do not bear false witness, do not lie." And in Judeo-Christianity, it is a sin to lie. In Islam, it is a commandment to lie.
Takia. Uh-huh.
Taqiyya.
Mhm.
So if you're following Islam, if you're following Taqiyya, uh, no agreement which may be reached will be honored. All the agreements with Iran, these are master chess players. I mean, chess was created in Iran, and Shahmat means the Shah is dead. And very frankly, President Trump says, "Well, really, all I want is just a nuclear agreement." Well, it's all a lie. It's all a smokescreen.
Hmm.
And Netanyahu just got on his plane. He's already flying now to the United States to tell President Trump about the realities of Iran, the realities of their lying. Israel has two other red lines, which the Iranians are going to cross. Number one is they have, as far as we know at this time, 3,000 ballistic missiles. These ballistic missiles, we can take out 90% of them. In other words, 2,700. It is assessed that 300 will get through. Each missile can kill 100, 200, or 300 people in the densely populated areas of Tel Aviv. And the Iranians have even said, we will attack Tel Aviv, Ramat Gan, Givatayim, Bnei Brak, and these areas, the buildings are older. So if a missile hits, 2, 3, 4 buildings go down. These are massive, massive rockets. 300 missiles that do get through could kill about 3,000 or 30,000 Israelis. Israel's solution to this is a preemptive attack. But President Trump is being demanded by Iran to prevent Israel from attacking, meaning we are hostages to a situation in which tens of thousands could die from these missiles. And then there's another problem. Hamas in Gaza, Hezbollah in Lebanon, and others, Houthis in Yemen. These people are proxies of Iran. They are the tentacles of the Iranian octopus. And Israel is demanding that all these groups be disarmed. They've all come out and said they will not be disarmed. So we are still in a constant state of war. And for President Trump to say that he's happy with a deal about the nuclear program, which they're going to lie about inevitably, because that's what they do every time, Israel will probably have to go it alone.
You know, I'm still surprised that the treasonous John Kerry, who pretty much lived over in Iran, the first administration of Trump, helping them to skirt UN inspections, is even walking around free. And surely by now you know that you cannot trust the leadership of Iran.
Hey, they killed 85,000 of their own people in just a few days. They went into hospitals and they shot wounded protesters in their beds. You know what? Now they have arrested the doctors and they're shooting the doctors. This is a completely rabid, insane Islamic leadership in Iran.
And it's a shame because I remember statements saying, even from America, we're standing with you. Well, are we? I'm sure we're not aware of all the operations going on right now, but it sure isn't a visible scenario, you know. How many times have we seen Iran protest? How many times have we seen innocents being killed? You know, and of course the rabid animals that are now all on the same team with the left, they're not protesting women's rights for Iran. They're not protesting the death of innocents. You know, I guess they're not paid to by the Muslim Brotherhood this time. So what do? Well, folks, if you don't think you better vote in the midterms, you better. These people, they want you dead. And if you think being white and liberal is going to save you, it won't. Just pick up a history book, put down your gender studies for a second and read what happens to sympathizers to communists once they gain power. And how many case studies do we need to see where less than 1% plus all the media was able to pull it off? It's obvious where our media stands. This last joke of a display during the Super Bowl. Hey, I love Latinos. Don't get me wrong, but an anti-American, all Spanish act. I appreciate the message. About love and hate. I appreciate that. But a nice billboard doesn't erase all the words that are being spoken in between. The bottom line is, if you're America, they hate you. If you're white, they hate you. And if you're conservative and a person of color, they hate you the worst. So this is a global problem. And you got to be vocal. Go to patriotsinAction.com, join for free, vote, show up, run for something, and also pray for the peace of Israel. These people can't agree on anything that are coming against Israel. They can't agree on their own theories. A lot of noise out there. Thanks to Obama in 2012, he made it legal for you to be lied to. Look that up. Wear that t-shirt in your parade. In the meantime, you got to wake up and do what you know how to do. Go to biblicalalliance.com, biblicalalliance.com. And that's Avi's website as well. Avi, have you heard of any news of elections in the meantime?
Well, at this stage, we are looking at a deadline of March 31st, by which time the budget has to pass. If the Israeli budget does not pass by March 31st, elections will be called probably 2 months later in June. Netanyahu's hope is that the government lasts its full term until September, October. So somewhere between June and September, October, elections will be called. And I'm very, very fairly obvious optimist that Netanyahu will win. My hope for my party, of course, is that we get in with 4 members of Knesset, which is the minimum. If you don't get 4, you don't get anything. That's 150,000 votes. I will tell you something which I know none of you heard about, or maybe did hear about it. Our former Prime Minister, Ehud Barak, was on Jeffrey Epstein's island.
Oh, yeah.
And he was quoted, they got him on tape, where he was saying that he had spoken to Putin, that he wanted 1 million Russian immigrants to come to Israel to help balance the demography, because the European Ashkenazi Jews are short 1 million, in his understanding. And what we have is too many North African Jews, Sephardic Jews, and that 1 million Russian, even non-Jews, would go a long way in balancing the population, the demography. Now, Avi Lipkin is going to give you the real deal.
Okay.
I don't talk about 1 million Russians. I talk about 10 million Americans moving to Israel. Now, we have approximately 6 million Jews in America. They're married to 4 million non-Jews, Christians, and they will all be slaughtered by the Muslims, by the neo-Nazis in America, by the Black Lives Matter, and by Antifa. Mm-hmm. And so I am saying that we're going to double our population. Our Judeo-Christian population is going to double from 8 million to 18 million. And the purpose of my party is to bring about an end to the hatred between Jews and Christians, and also to educate Israelis who the white Anglo-Saxon Protestant Christians are. And by the way, white Anglo-Saxon Protestant includes blacks and Hispanics and other minority churches that are Protestant, that are independent of the Pope, because the Pope is an enemy of Israel. But Catholics are great, but the Pope is the commander of an army which is pro-Islamic. And so the American Protestants, together with Jewish relatives, are going to be the vanguard of Israel very soon. Now, I'm not happy with what Ehud Barak said about 1 million Russians, but my message is 10 times more powerful because what we do have is 6 million Jews and 4 million spouses who are not Jewish. And if they are forced to flee from the United States because of a Holocaust in America, because of the groups that I mentioned, um, that would put the Bible Bloc Party very much at the top. And listen, I'm 77. I don't know how long I'm going to live, but if I live long enough to see this, you can imagine the power that the Bible Bloc Party will have, a Judeo-Christian Western civilization party, which is what I'm working for. And these next elections, I'm not so sure that we will get in. But as you know, I have my two books coming out now. One is the second edition of the Bible Bloc Party. The first edition came out 20 years ago, so this is the second edition. Um, and I think that the party will grow as the books are translated into Hebrew and Russian, because we have a lot of Russian voters who are mixed Jewish Christian. And so I'm hoping that this will be the preparation for the American Jews who are also mixed Jewish Christian. And I think that God's plan is for the Jews and Christians to march arm in arm together in love. And no more of this anti-Semitism against the Jews and no more anti-Semitism against the Christians.
Well, so be it, because nothing good ever comes out of that. You know?
Hey, Messiah is not coming only for the Southern Baptists. He's coming for everyone.
Well, the left is united. And when we say the left, we're talking about, the Nazis were Democrat socialists, democratic socialists, what they would say. Yet they're calling us the Nazis. But
And
they're
national, yeah, you have to say correctly, National Socialists, but that indeed and their systems and their
yeah.
mottos, their logos were exactly like Russia.
Well, the Nationalist Socialist Party literally were the Nazis, and so the lunacy, the ignorance, and they tried it on me, in the late '80s in college to turn me into a communist. Oh, Jesus was the perfect communist, they say. Such deception, and but they are united. You have to say that they are united. One thing you can say about them, they're united. They may devour each other, devour their own children, find themselves the antithesis of everything that is life and love and liberty. But boy, you're the Nazi. It's gone beyond ignorance. It's demonic, and that's what we're facing right now. It's been said that a leftist needs only one reason to vote, and a conservative needs only one reason not to vote. Tweets, and give me a break, folks. Gosh, just when you think it couldn't get more ignorant, it's a matter of your survival, folks. Because leftism is not only self-devouring, it is scorched earth, and they have aligned themselves with the refuse of humanity, and they want you dead. All of you, even if you're a leftist that doesn't agree with them, they want you dead too. So for your survival, you better get with it. You better show up. You better vote and occupy places of leadership that you don't want a vile, evil entity to lead. And so it doesn't get clearer than that, does it? All that to say is it's just interesting. And you had an experience though with someone that believed they were speaking on behalf of the militias, and it might be interesting to review that conversation for those who are watching now.
Okay, well, indeed, the American militias, and I work with them, and I know them. I work with the Tea Parties. I work with the Republican Party. I mean, the Democrats would not invite me in a million years. So I'm one of those Jews who is arch right wing, arch Republican. And one day I was in the Villages in Florida, and a lady friend, one of my groupies, said to me, "Oh, there's this guy he wants to talk to you. He's a militia guy." I said, "Okay." So I went to a restaurant where three of us had lunch, and it was a very interesting lunch. We spoke about philosophy and different things, and basically we agree almost on everything. And then all of a sudden he says to me, when the orders are given, we're going to kill all the Jews in America. Why? Because the Jews are Bolsheviks, the Jews are communists. And he is right in a very small way. In other words, when the Jews lived in Russia and Poland and Germany and France, in Europe, the nationalist movements in all these countries were backed by the state church. And so when they came to America, America was entirely different. The white Anglo-Saxon Protestants of America only blessed the Jews, only loved the Jews. We were the people of the book. But the Jews were locked inside of a box in which we remembered what the Russians did to us. And indeed, the Bolshevik Revolution, in many ways, was led by Jews because
Oh, geez,
the Russian nationalism was anti Semitic. And my grandfather, for example, was an officer in the Polish army. They were anti-Semitic until finally he left Poland and went to Argentina. But anyway, so when they came to the new countries of the Americas, there was no hatred of the Jews. My father told me there was no anti-Semitism in Argentina. Well,
right.
later, when the Nazis came from Germany, escaped to Argentina, so you had anti-Semitism. America always blessed its Jews for 500 years. But this neo-Nazi said to me, we're to kill the Jews because they vote Democrat. And again, it is a tradition for Jewish people to vote Democrat based on their ignorance of who the American Christians are. Our Jews do not go to church on Sunday. They do not read the New Testament. And as a result, the ignorance breeds hatred of the Jews against American Christians, even though they're guiltless. But these neo-Nazis, they basically are picking up the mantle of anti-Semitism very much in the way of the Nazis or the way of the Europeans who hated the Jews. And so even though 33% of the Jews vote Republican, if 66% vote Democrat, so the hatred is upon all of the Jewish people in America. And if a Goldberg marries a Christian lady, her name becomes Goldberg, she has to die too. And so what I'm saying is, I foresee, God forbid, but I foresee 6 million Jews being persecuted and killed, together with 4 million Christian spouses and relatives. And even if a Christian marries a Jew and the children go to church, they're still Jews because one of the parents is a Jew. This is Nazi thinking. And that's one of the reasons why the Bible Bloc Party in Israel was created to prepare for asylum for 6 million Jews, 4 million Christians, and our population, our Judeo-Christian Western civilization population, will make the Bible Bloc Party the biggest party in the Israeli political system.
Wow.
This could be 5, 10 years from now, if I'm still alive. If I'm not alive, someone else will take over. It's okay. I'm doing what God is commanding me to do now.
My people perish for a lack of knowledge.
Right.
You know, interesting days. A lot of Americans are disheartened to find out how many have been involved with the Epstein situation. And can you trust the thing that you hear? You know, the very media that has been given the green light to deceive you folks is the very media you're listening to. You don't know who to trust. But one thing remains the same, and that is God. God is in
Amen.
control, and His word does not lie. And so,
Amen.
but everything you just talked about, that's perfectly aligned with Islamists, who openly state they want to kill the people of Saturday, which are the Jews, and the people of Sunday, which are the Christians.
Right.
And the left goes right along with that. You know, I mean,
President Obama said that in 2009 that America is no longer a Judeo-Christian country.
yeah,
It is a Christian, Muslim, Jewish, Hindu country. The Jews are now in third place. And basically, the writing is on the wall for the Jewish
right.
people. This is a sad thing for American Christians because you don't want the Muslims to be number two. The Muslims are out to destroy the Christians.
And you know, no matter what is stated or no matter what is said, when there's a certain percentage of a country and they take over, you find out just how much they love you, Christians and Jews. We love you, but you have to pay the jibwa. You have to pay the tax. What is it, like 50%? And
It varies.
so, you know, again, imagine what would happen if people stopped the world and realized that their media is paid to lie to them and to distract with Super Bowls and silly awards, you know. Hardly anyone listens. The people who watch football didn't listen to Bad Bunny, but boy, he won those Grammys and had the halftime show. Such a slap in the face, not because he was Latino, but because of what he was saying and the paid sentiment of those who have sold their souls to the same Luciferian entertainment industry. They don't hide it. Even the Olympic opening.
You know, I have to tell you something. When I was in Midland, Odessa 6 months ago,
Right.
I spoke in an Hispanic church,
Yeah.
and they want me back very much. I spoke in the English service at 9:30 and in the Spanish service at 11:30, and the church was packed. The Hispanic church was packed.
Yeah.
Beautiful music,
Beautiful people.
a little orchestra there, and there were a lot of them were from Cuba, and these are the most nationalistic Republican Americans now who came from Cuba.
Oh yeah.
I don't know who this Bad Bunny is, but let me tell you, the churches I go to, the Hispanics are very, very nationalist American, very pro-American.
And you will find a lot of them are very pro-Israel.
Yes, all of them are pro.
Because they have descendants. It's been said that if your last name ends with a Z, that you have Jewish lineage. I don't know if that's the case, but I've heard that for years. You know, interesting when you know, a little side note here. Whenever I've done worship, I break into the Israeli style of songs, and boy, if you're black, if you're Latino, if you're white, no matter who you are, they start dancing. There's something in the blood, we should say, that recognizes that. And so we're grateful for that, you know. Am I thrilled about the idea of sweet little abuela looking for a better life being hauled off by ICE? No. Is that the target of ICE? No. No. People that have been led into our country. Maduro's prisons emptied into our country, folks. People sending their prisoners, their insane asylum people into our country to destroy it. Those are the targets. And so your lying media cannot be trusted. That's why you need true media. And that's why you can trust voices like Avi's. You can trust mine too. We're not for sale. But you better pray for the peace of Israel and get proactive in your life and in your stance. Show up, vote on voting day. We got to get rid of these voting machines. We're the only country still stupid enough to use them now. And, you know, you want your votes going through Venezuela and then China and then America? There's no way to verify who won anything, folks. I know that. However, we are already set up for paper ballots. It only takes 3 people in a county to switch to paper ballots. Did you know that? 2 county commissioners and a judge, or 3 county commissioners in a county to go to paper where you know who won. You can vote on voting day. If you vote early, You may think that's a great thing, but there's too much time for them to drop off votes in the middle of the night. You need to vote on voting day. Well, it doesn't register in D.C. It registers in real time in D.C. You've been lied to. So you in D.C., think about that. The District of Columbia. Not even America, man. So what I'm saying is, look. You got to show up. You got to vote. You got to occupy leadership. And you need to pray for the peace of Israel and tell your representatives that you support them, our only ally in the Middle East. And their faith, if you will, if you don't believe in any of that, their faith does not advocate lying to you. And so you got to wake up. You got to do it. If you're distracted with this life, you won't have a lot of the things you love in this life that you're distracted with right now if you don't make a stand. So pray for the peace of Israel. Go to patriotsinAction.com. Vote, show up, run for office, and pray that God saves America and God blesses Israel. Because as goes Israel,
So goes the world.
so goes the